Good morning. I just want you to know that I'm here today to share with you my students' work. You'll have a chance to see what we do at the High School for Recording Arts. I didn't come to this work as an educator. I was an entertainment lawyer. I'm a product of 1970s New York. It was dirty, it was grimy, things were changing. Arts was coming out of education at the time, and it was really a struggle to really kind of figure out, how do you express yourself? And out of that came the incredible phenomena of hip hop. So I was there. I tell my students a story. I tell them and it's mostly true. I was at a party during Christmas. It was a basement party. And during the time, it was like all this funk music and disco and everything. It's the 1970s. And this kid got this stereo, this brand new stereo, because it was just after Christmas, and it was in the basement. And everything was fine, except that he had this plug that you could plug into the stereo, and it had a mic attached to it. So as the music's playing, he's saying all this stupid stuff on the mic over the music. And, we're dancing, we're doing our thing. And everybody's like, shut up. You're messing up the music. But little by little, each person would try to get the mic because they want to hear their voice through the speakers because we had never experienced that. So here it is, all through the party, people are grabbing this mic and trying to express themselves through it to be a part of this music and to be a part of this energy. And although we felt it was extremely annoying because no one was saying anything that made any kind of sense, it was just like, just crazy stuff. The next morning, I remember going to my mother and saying to her, Mom, I want to get that stereo where you could put the plug in and you have the mic. And from there, all the parties started being that way. So from that, I went to law school, and I decided that by that time, all of my friends who had come up through this incredible phenomena of hip-hop were now going into the industry and creating music and creating businesses. It became a multi-billion-dollar worldwide phenomenon. And during that time, I met this guy who came from Minnesota to a music conference in New York, and he was a rapper, and he told me he grew up with Prince and was rapping with Prince. I was like, really? I mean, by then, this is like the 1990s, Prince was just huge, and I was really just trying to be a groupie. So I became his friend. He didn't know that was really what my intent was. So he started flying me out to Minnesota and hanging out at Paisley Park. It was just, an incredible time creatively in that sense. But when Prince changed his name to a symbol, because he had a contract with Prince with Warner Brothers, when Prince changed his name to a symbol to get out of his contract with Warner Brothers, because in his mind, if the symbol exists and Prince doesn't, there's no contract anymore, right? A novel legal theory. So anyway, David lost his contract with Prince at the time, and as a result, he wanted to open up his own recording studio. And he asked me to help him do it. And we called it Studio 4. And over time, we were just trying to rent out studio time and trying to find the next big recording artist. But instead, young people were showing up every single day, wanting to know how to get their music out, wanting to know how to, just become a part of something that they knew was so intrinsically important to them. But we would look at our watch, it would be like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were like, why aren't you guys in school? They were like, forget school. We're not going to school. We got kicked out. We got pushed out. They don't want us. It's not relevant. It's boring. And David had the incredible idea to start the school at the studio, and we created the High School for Recording Arts. And from that, and that was 1998, the original young people had dropped out. Most were involved in the criminal justice system. Many were homeless. All of them were poor. And to this day, in 2016, going from 15 students to 325 students, that is still the population we serve. Yet, we don't talk about that. Those statistics I just told you has no part in our conversation because what we focus on is their genius. And I just want to show a clip. Is it possible to show the Sam Seidel clip? So is the commercial? Can a commercial go? Okay, let's try the commercial.
Hey everyone, if you're a high school student who's interested in audio engineering, producing, or singing, you name it, we got it. High School for Recording Arts, a place where you design your education. Think about it, science, technology, aviation, and basketball in our new Jump City courts. To learn more, visit us in person or on our website at hsra.org. HSRA, design your own education and be the real you.
Part of our promotion is to, we advertise to our community because we want people, young people to know and families to know what we do. And it's an incredible commercial, and it's totally produced by our students. And I just wanted to have that as just a beginning statement as to, what I'm here to talk to you about in terms of what young people can do. This is all about what young people can do when you give them a chance, irrespective of their background, irrespective of whatever kind of obstacles, us focusing on their brilliance. So doing this work, I met a young man named Sam Seidel. And he and some others and I were doing some work around the country in national reform, and we realized we had this connection through hip-hop. And from that, we started talking about hip-hop as pedagogy and how should it really look in the school? What does it mean to teach hip-hop as opposed to, taking it to a more authentic level? And we created this really was just a talking group called Hip Hop Genius. And out of that, Sam moved to Minnesota from Providence, Rhode Island, and spent about 1.5 years and wrote a book about our school called Hip Hop Genius. But everything I've said up to this point, I think, can be captured in this video. And anybody here know Sam Seidel and Hip Hop Genius? So most of the room does not. Okay, great. So let's get that going.
When I was 20 years old, I started teaching at a juvenile prison. While there were many things that separated us, I quickly discovered my students and I had one big thing in common: our love of hip-hop. For the next few years, rap music became the main content for the classes I taught, and I saw disengaged students emerge as leaders and experts. Through engaging elements of hip-hop culture together, students and I learned language arts, life skills, and to love each other and ourselves more. As I continued to observe the ways in which our education system is rigged against Black and Latino students and students from low-income communities, I asked myself what else we as educators could learn from hip-hop, the insanely innovative and influential global phenomenon that has emerged from those very same communities. When I say hip-hop, I'm not just talking about music or music, graffiti, and dance, which are considered its central elements. I'm referring to the blend of instincts, confidence, and ingenuity that develops in oppressed communities, as has been demonstrated through the evolution of hip-hop culture. I'm talking about a Jamaican teenager in the South Bronx taking 2 records of the same song and fading back and forth between them to create a new musical composition by playing the most danceable segment over and over. I'm talking about aspiring visual artists realizing they didn't need galleries to represent them for their work to be seen, and instead painting on train cars and instantly having an audience of hundreds of thousands. I'm talking about a high school dropout from the projects of Marcy using his entrepreneurial hustle and rap skills to go from selling drugs to selling CDs out of the trunk of his car to selling products at Macy's. This is what my colleagues and I call hip-hop genius, creative resourcefulness in the face of limited resources, or as it is often said in the hip-hop community, flipping something out of nothing. How can this audacious approach impact our education system? For starters, we need to exhibit the brash creativity of hip-hop's pioneers. Just as hip-hop producers sampled songs from other genres, creating unique new sounds to please audiences' ears, hip-hop educators can borrow from diverse models and improvise innovative blends of educational practices customized to meet students' needs. If that sounds too abstract, take a look at the High School for Recording Arts in Minnesota, where they've mixed project-based learning and competency-based assessment with artistic, vocational, and business training with dual enrollment at local colleges with a heavy dose of student leadership. We don't have to do the same thing that's been done before or follow one model. We can sample and mix multiple teaching techniques and school designs to find the blends that best serve our students. We also need to adopt the value hip-hop places on staying fresh. A hot beat yesterday was a hot beat yesterday. Whoever sets out to make a hot beat today has to do something new and different to remain relevant. The world is changing rapidly around us. The top 10 jobs in 2010 didn't exist 6 years earlier. Hip-hop's premium on freshness must permeate our schools. And we need to be resourceful. In the 1970s, thousands of families chose to replace their linoleum floors. In poor neighborhoods, the old linoleum was left in piles on the street. Young people, without access to playgrounds or dance classes, turned their parents' trash into dance floors and invented new moves like the windmill and the headspin to maximize its potential. Faced with our own resource constraints, educators need to find new platforms. What refuse could we be dancing on? And what are our new moves? Behind the mic, spray cans, turntables, and when it comes to their educations, students have brilliant ideas and instincts. Hip-hop genius is not just about teachers using hip-hop songs to get kids to succeed in traditional schools. It's about changing education to respect and build from young people's brilliance. It's about the incredible possibilities that occur when students are engaged, not as consumers, but as creators. We don't need to tweak the content inside existing traditional academic structures. We need to think outside the classroom and build institutions that are fundamentally more responsive to young people's interests and ingenuity. We need to create schools and school systems that not only teach hip-hop, they are hip-hop.
Thank you. Thank you. So just so that you know, what I care about passionately in terms of this work as someone in a career change and now engaged in education and transforming the life of youth, I care most about opportunity youth and their re-engagement, young people who people have given up on, dropped through the cracks, equity and issues of racial and social justice. I really believe in issues around alternative accountability. I believe people who do this work really need to have the kind of proper assessment to assess the type of work they're doing in terms of how well they're doing it. But for the purpose of today, my focus is really around innovation and creativity and entrepreneurship. So, we saw basically what's there in that slide through Sam's incredible piece around hip-hop genius and focusing on our high schools. So for you, today, I really, as CTE educators and people doing this work, I really want to build upon that creativity and innovation and have you understand, the possibilities of young people. We still too often think about how we can fill up students with stuff as opposed to what we release in them, which I think is critical. The truth is many students like the ones that we serve have a lot of stuff to first come out of them before they're able to let anything in. And we just have to appreciate that. And how can we do that in a positive and creative manner that can truly lead to a career and something purposeful? So if you could go to the next slide. I'm going to now address this question. How do we prepare learners for jobs, problems that do not yet exist? I mean, everyone is asking that. Everyone's trying to think about that because we already know, we see it mentioned all the times that in 2020, 2030, we don't even know what kind of jobs young people are going to have. The job positions haven't even been thought of yet. So the only thing we can really do in anticipation of that is how we help our students think creatively and think with innovation, how they become great communicators and collaborators and problem solvers. So I said I'm going to show this more than talk about it, and I'm going to bring my students into this space now. And it's basically 3 different projects that you're going to see. The first one is called 26 Seconds. So at our school, we have a professional state-of-the-art recording studio. And we also have professional video production. But we also have a business of music and an enterprise called Another Level Records, where our students actually operate and engage in the business aspects of what they create. Because we, always say we're not rhyming for the sake of riddling. That's a rap line. It's not about what them being on the stage and performing, although they do that and they do that extremely well. It's about them owning that creativity and producing it and tying it to messages that mean something. Maybe just to them, but maybe to the community as well. So this first project, 26 Seconds, we engage with a lot of outside entities in that creation process with our students. So whether it's businesses, community-based organizations, foundations, governmental agencies, mom and pop shops, we want our students to understand what does it mean to produce at a high level, to meet deadlines, to meet the demands of a client. So that our biggest client has been State Farm. And we had done a number of different projects with State Farm, and this one became our biggest. They asked our students to create a national campaign around the dropout rate. Every 26 seconds, someone drops out of school. Based on the success of other projects, they said, we're going to give you guys this huge contract, fly you all over the country, give you media access, and we're also going to assign LeBron James as your co-partner as a spokesperson. What an incredible opportunity for young people that most have forgotten. So for right now, I'm going to show you the culmination of that project, that 26-second project with Domino, who dropped out of school as a parent and probably would not have been thought of in any way preparing themselves for the jobs that don't yet exist. So.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good evening and welcome to this great reception and to the Grad Nation Summit.
Every 26 seconds, a young person drops out of high school, which means we're losing an entire generation of great potential.
That's 1 million young people leaving our schools for our streets each year. That is economically unsustainable and is morally unacceptable.
Please join me in welcoming the High School for Recording Arts.
All of us can keep America's promise to the promise of America, our children.
You sponsor this program called 26 Seconds. Tell me why business has to be involved in this.
We want to make sure that our kids today are having an exposure to a learning environment that will give them the critical analytical skills, communication skills that they're going to need.
After you hear about the statistic, after you see the people around you are trying to help, now it's all up to the students. It's up to us as the students to actually take an effort to, go ahead and graduate high school.
Guys, look who's here.
I'm LeBron James. Stay in school, don't drop out. Go to Facebook, 26 seconds.
What's high? It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Today we have a 26-second dropout prevention rally. We brought in High School of Recording Arts.
The whole showcase, they'll be like, bam, this is what it is. You guys, we're out here doing this. You guys can do it too.
I was actually going to be a dropout student. I was dropping out of high school actually my freshman year. I just want these kids to understand, we're in high school too. If we can do it, so you can do this too.
I just basically wrote down, I've made bad choices all my life and no one ever noticed me do good until I made bad choices, and now I'm doing great.
People could follow my example, like my younger siblings and stuff. Be a good role model, because I don't want to be just stop after high school and just lurk around the reservation all the time.
That just keeps me motivated, just to know that I can go off somewhere and be something great and then come back and help my own.
We can finally put our hands in the air. Just celebrate. Cause today is the day that we graduate.
Start here.
You were number 26. I know that has some meaning for you. Why?
We have one young person in this country dropping out every 26 seconds. That's unacceptable. We have to challenge that status quo together.
The D-League All-Star Game this year, they're going to a 26-second clock.
I want to get this out. I want people to understand, how bad this is right now for our youth, because they're our future. And so any little ways I can help by doing campaigns or doing commercials or just saying, I'm happy to be a part of it.
This is my graduation.
Thank you. So we're going to unpack these videos later, because I think it's important for you to understand how we see it in terms of projects and competencies. But I just want to let you know, everything you saw in there was through the thought leadership of our students. They designed the campaign, they designed the logo, the music that you heard, that was Domino singing with one of his other students' tracks, and created something that impacted our community on that high of a level with the Secretary of Education, Colin Powell, and others. But we have an opportunity now to have Domino himself unpack what he experienced and what he has been doing at the school through this project. So let's watch that.
More than 1.2 million students dropped out of high school last year. It works out to 1 every 26 seconds. It's a big, complicated problem. Fixing it will take teachers, administrators, students, parents, politicians, and business. Joining me now to talk about it, Ed Rust, CEO of State Farm, the insurance company, former West Virginia Governor Bob Wise, now president of the Alliance for Excellent Education, and Dominique Farrar, who almost dropped out of school twice, but is still in school. Dominic, welcome to the program. Your friends call you Domino, right?
Yes, they do, Domino.
So tell me, you went through this program 26 seconds,
yes,
and you thought about dropping out a couple of times,
yes,
but you stayed in.
Yes, I did.
What did it mean to you? Why did you decide to stay in?
Well, at first, when I was preparing to drop out at the Agricultural Food and Science Academy, I just wasn't interested in school. I wasn't interested in the traditional, how you say, just traditional academics. And when I was enrolled in the High School for Recording Arts, I began to actually become more focused in academics and in graduating until things got rough with my daughter and whatnot, paying child support.
Right.
So
you're 19 years old and
yes,
you're a
ma'am.
dad.
Yes, ma'am.
So like many people who are considering dropout, you are a grown-up and you're a kid at the same time.
Right. Well, yeah. What kept me in school it was random, actually. I came to the school one day, and one of the facilitators, he's like the big brother facilitator, Dario, he was talking about the 26-second campaign. And when he said every 26 seconds somebody drops out of school.
And that was going to be you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like kind of smacked me in the face, like I want to be a statistic. I want to be, and plus being a recording artist, I want to, set an example. I want to be someone that everybody looks up to. You know what I mean?
What about an example for your daughter as well? Because there's
definitely.
also this dropout cycle that's very difficult to break, I mean, you are a role model.
Right. And being a role model for my daughter is like, I don't want her to fall into a statistic that could grow. Like it could become every 10 seconds somebody drops out. You know what I mean? I don't want it to.
So let me ask each of you, just quickly, what works? Is it mentorship? Is it money for college? Is it higher expectations from the people around you? What worked to keep you in school?
It's really self-motivation. Like after you hear about the statistic, after you see the people around you are trying to help, now it's all up to the students. It's up to us as the students to actually take an effort to, go ahead and graduate high school, be you.
Governor Wise, what works? Is it a little bit of everything? Does it depend
it's a little bit of everything, but let me just say it's targeting. We know as early as 6th grade what students are on the dropout track. We can intervene, and
we know as early as 6th grade.
As early as 6th grade, you can tell from drop in grades, you can tell from increased truancy, and you can tell from disciplinary
what
problems.
Happens to those kids?
What happens is they don't wake up one day and drop out. It's a process that's taking place over many years. We also know this. We know that about 8% of our high schools contribute half of all dropouts in the country.
They're dropout factories.
The dropout factories. We need to target students as early as possible. We also need to target those schools that are producing the most dropouts.
And Ed, from what you've seen in your affiliation with this or your sponsorship of this program, 26 Seconds, what works?
What is unique about the 26 Seconds program is really, as Dominique was saying, it's a variety of ways of connecting with today's youth. Be it through Twitter, be it through Facebook, be it through other means of social networking or people attending, participating in school discussions, getting communities involved in it. There's no one single factor. It's really getting our minds in a more holistic approach around reaching out to our young people and helping them understand the relevance of an education, the importance long term, and giving them a variety of ways of how do they get engaged and get exposed to that.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Ed Rust from State Farm, Governor Bob Wise, and also Dominic Farrar. Very nice to meet you. Best of luck to you and everything.
What you saw there was really Domino being in a frame of mind of thinking about his learning, thinking about his creation and sharing it to a national audience. The next video I want to show you is also part of the campaign where we engaged the whole aspect of jingle writing and creating songs that can appeal to other teenagers around issues related to causes that are important to whatever that client might be. So in this particular case, this was a campaign called Celebrate My Drive. Celebrate My Drive was all about making aware new drivers around the country around the fact that driving is a great, great thing. You should be happy that you're doing it. But at the same time, it's very serious. So they wanted us to figure out how could we make that message appeal to young people all around the country. And interestingly enough, as I was looking at this, this was a young lady from California, we're in Minnesota, who followed what our students created with this L. And you'll see it from the song that this actually went viral, and this was the song that our students created.
Just put your L's in the air, L's in the air, L's in the air, L's in the air, L's in the air.
Like I said, for us, this is really about how do we engage young people's creativity and show them the entrepreneurial side of it as well. So we had a chance to join Junior Achievement. And Junior Achievement had this contest called Company of the Year. And what it was about was schools have students create companies that actually go into business. And they sell stocks and they sell products and then they compete with other schools around their products. When we first did it, I was thinking that, okay, well, we probably will just get some good experience from it. Our students had an incredible creative idea in terms of using our radio show and selling spots to the radio show to different local businesses. And from that, selling the spots to local businesses, they would air those commercials on our radio show. So this was part of the campaign. You're going to see a video that they created describing that business, and then you're going to see them competing, and we're going to go then into unpacking what these videos are all about.
Man, I need some customers in here.
Hey, are you listening? This could be you right now. If you're a business owner within the Metro, let HSRA and Junior Achievement leave your mark everywhere with a unique custom radio advertisement with cutting-edge music created in our state-of-the-art studios. This could be all yours for an incredible affordable price. For more information, contact Leave Your Mark Everywhere at lime@hsra.org. That's LYME@hsra.org.
LYME. I hope these guys can do something for me.
Hi, you asked for Lime? We're gonna leave your mark everywhere. We give local businesses the opportunity to be recognized by making a 30-second jingle which airs on 96.3 now. It's all yours for $125, but hold up, I'm not done yet. After your 30-second jingle, we give you a 2-minute spotlight segment where we talk about your business. Are you interested?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get the paperwork ready. Hey, we finished your jingle. How about you take a listen?
Okay.
So I went to Divine Cuts just to see what they cheap. Told me sit down, it cost 15 bucks. And when he got done, I said, hey, fresh cut. He told me no problem, he was doing his job. Hey, yo, man, I want y'all to come get fresh to death at Divine Cuts, which is located at 1451 University Avenue, West in St. Paul, Minnesota. 55104 in the downstairs of Blessing Salon.
Oh, hey, I just checked out your ad on 96.3. I love it. Hey, man, I'm on my way up there right now to come get my hair cut right now. Man, I need help. You gonna fix me up?
Man, I'm glad I found Lyle.
Man, I'm glad I found you.
So, yes, thank you. So like I said, I had very, what I thought were rational, low expectations doing it the first year that we would probably just get some experience. So we competed in the metro area. We won, which was like crazy. And then there was a regional Midwest competition. And we won that. So then we was flown to Washington, D.C. to compete against schools from all over United States and Canada. And when we got there, we began to realize, even on the regional level, that our students, the ones who most have fallen through the cracks, most had given up on, were competing now in this entrepreneurial contest against some of the most privileged young people in the country. And this was the result. And this video was produced by our students as well.
The entrepreneurs really are the innovators, and it is the job creation engine of our nation, has been for 200 years and will be for the next 200 years.
It's going to be terrific if you take first place up here today. But if you don't, the sun is still going to come up tomorrow. You are still going to be successful. You have every opportunity.
The students here have been involved with JA for a school year. They're here competing against other kids across America. These are the future entrepreneurs. It's not just putting a company together, but it's involvement with other kids across America. It's inspiring leaders, some creativity, inspiration, passion, perseverance. The people that are watching this video right now, you are the future leaders of America.
It's all customizable, and it's all what they wanted. We had a goal of selling 200, and we sold 214 total products.
We customize to our customer what their needs are and what they want.
One of Best Buy initiatives is how do we enable kids through technology and education?
We have cool lemonade over there for anybody who's thirsty. Thank you, guys.
Hi, we're from PIG Financial, and our product is called Fortune Pick. It's a financial education tool aimed towards elementary school-age children.
These students are absolutely amazing, and the companies and products that they've come up with will just blow your mind.
We give you 4 30-second jingles and a 2-minute spotlight segment for $125.
It's been a fantastic experience and a great learning experience for myself as well as all my colleagues. Very good.
Today was hard work. My feet are killing me. I've talked all day.
Now it's my pleasure to announce the first place team, who will each receive the Sweeney Student Achievement Award, which is a $1,000 scholarship. The first place team winner from St. Paul, Minnesota is Team 1.
of my company, I'm the president of Lime. We came a far way from St. Paul, Minnesota, so we just picked an advertisement company that we thought that we could go all the way with. So I'd like to say thank you to Junior Achievement. I'd like to say thank you to the founder of the school, Mr. T.C. Ellis, his right-hand man, Tony Simmons. I'd like to say the person that gave us the courage to get to Washington was Sarah Lofkis. I would like to thank Dario, the cameraman. He gotta keep us straight. Gotta keep us straight on camera. And we have an amazing team. We have an amazing team. We love each other. We have fun with each other. And thank you, Junior Achievement, for giving us his first place to work.
Thank you. I really wanted that to play because I really wanted you to see, again, what the possibilities are when you believe in young people and you give them a chance to shine. So what do we see? How do we do projects at High School for Recording Arts? We could go to that next slide. So we know that young people crave to tell their own stories. I mean, look at what they do in terms of social media and the phenomena around that. Their culture. They want to express that, and who's going to tell their stories is really the question. And if we don't train and teach our young people to tell their stories, someone else will. So for us, you know, when we think about pathways and we think about those videos you watch, you know, organic projects is really about creating something that is important and intrinsic to who our young people are, with authentic ends, real-world ends, is outside of the building. So they access an interdisciplinary mastery list to award credits. I mean, it's hard to see what one particular discipline is happening in these various experiences. They're all over the place. It's just like life. It's just like the kind of work world that they're going to enter. And determining mastery by students presetting rubric and expectations in collaboration with their teachers or validators, and checking out the process with self-grading and validator assessment. So for us, when we ask the question, and you could go to the next slide. Oh, okay. I forgot I stuck that one in there. Okay. No. Next one. You know, again, we're seeing much of what I just discussed. So first it was about them expressing themselves. And then it was them realizing that they could tell other people their stories and to their peers and people outside of their age groups. So, you know, for us, we believe that young people don't see themselves today just in terms of what they do. I mean, there was a time period where we kind of represented ourselves, you know, in terms of our career and such. It's far more intrinsic. It's far more about them representing their values and their identity as an integral part of what they're creating and what they're doing. And we believe by having these authentic projects, that is actually being realized. And then from that, you become able to really tap into community and really have an impact on what is happening in the community. So the best part of this is what develops in them. And that's, if we go to the next slide, in terms of the competencies. So for us, as we think about moving from skills to competencies, we're looking at this circular, interconnected means of how our students are gaining this kind of abilities, the mindsets that they're going to need in the 21st century economy with jobs that don't yet exist. So we begin to, we separate it. I mean, STEAM, everybody knows what that is: science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. It's just extremely important in terms of our students, and in all of those videos you saw numerous examples of how that is represented. But the arts part is really that inner part, that creative part, that part that is not just about playing an instrument, it's about unleashing who they are. When I talk about them being more than just a job, it's about them. And then humanities and community, and that connectiveness, and that sense that it has a purpose. Self-actualization and purpose. You know, them seeing themselves in that space, understanding that they're capable of doing anything, and allowing them to realize it now. Now. Not just when they go to college or graduate, right now. The technology is there now. The opportunities are there now. The opportunity to build community partnerships and relationships like we demonstrated exists now. And then last, the communication, leadership, and entrepreneurialism. You get that through the practice. You get that through going through the work and having that feedback in terms of your presentation and how you're doing. Imagine a domino being flown to New York to be on CNN alongside the CEO of State Farm and the governor of West Virginia, and having to extemporaneously talk in that moment before millions and millions of people. Those are the kind of opportunities we could have now. Next slide. We begin to see how this is unpacked. How do these projects showcase interdisciplinary competency? And just take note of it. And realize that as we're doing the evaluation, as we're validating these, that's what we're looking at. That's what we're assessing. And if you, after this session, if you want to kind of think through some of these videos you saw, think about what were the examples of those competencies listed there. So we need to challenge our students as authentic learners with experiences that makes it possible for them to demonstrate what they know inside the classroom and outside. And why is that? Because they are already global. They're already doing this. They're already in that space. They want to know if you're going to join them. They want to know if you're, ready and to take the risk and do the hard work and make the connections outside of the building and do the things that's important for them. They're actually wondering if you believe in them. Because they're already global, they're wired, they're interconnected, and when you stifle that, they will placate and ignore you or reject you. So creativity and innovation in many forms is to get our young people to tap into their peculiar bent of genius, as Plato said. That's what it's really about. It's about recognizing the genius of every single student. So let's catch up to them. Let's trust them. And I want to conclude by showing the most recent example of an incredible young lady who's going through a lot, who has done everything that I just was describing in terms of realizing who she is and bringing that into her ideas around a project that was before validators within her community, and that experience being something that's going to be with her for the rest of her life.
So this event is really about enabling the future entrepreneurs of tomorrow. We've asked these young people to come to the table with an idea around how to improve health and wellness in their schools. These kids are experiencing issues of health and wellness in their schools. It's happening in every city, and when you're asking someone to tap into that entrepreneurial mindset and really think about creative ways to solve problems, what anyone will do is think about their world.
Over 50% of our students are dealing with homelessness and independent living, which means we are extremely stressed out. And my solution to decrease our stress levels is have meditation be involved in our advisory class. What I would use your money for is mats, our music boxes, and also candles and art. Wake Up is my big idea project, and I would like to keep peace in our minds.
So what gave you the idea for this?
Well, I personally deal with homelessness, and so what has helped me, be in class and be attentive is meditation and yoga, and just going down with myself and thinking about what I can do to improve, and so meditation helps me with that.
So it helps you kind of distance yourself from those issues so you can concentrate on school? Is that the idea?
So I'm not always thinking about what's my next meal, where am I going to get these clothes, how am I going to survive in the streets? I'm thinking about what's in front of me instead of thinking about after.
So that was Audrey, incredible young lady, and just a great example of what we've been talking about. I do want to mention this book, The Tanning of America. It's written by Steve Stout. It's a great example of what we do at the High School for Recording Arts in terms of understanding youth culture and being able to have young people represent that culture in a way that is powerful and meaningful to both businesses, community-based organizations, various entities. And then the next slide is simply Audrey again, and the final slide is Audrey with that $1,000 check to the High School for Recording Arts to carry forth her idea for health and wellness. I want to end with her and that big, beautiful smile, and thank you guys so, so much for this opportunity to share their story with you.
Is Audrey homeless with a family or by herself?
With respect to Audrey, I don't want to get too much into her situation, but she self-reveals she's homeless. She has a difficult situation in terms of her family. I'll just leave it at that.
I got a question for you over here.
Yes.
I run a similar social enterprise with my students. One of the issues that I have, and I'm doing mine through the YMCA Youth Institute, and one of the issues my Y is having, my organization having, is paying students. Do you guys, as an enterprise, pay your students? How are you getting around the Fair Labor Act laws, and are you taking them on as employees and dealing with minors as employees, or you wait until they're 18?
Sure. Great question. We do pay our students. We believe it's extremely important to do that. And we usually, one of the good things about having a law background is being able to make sure we cover all those things. But like I said, not only do we get grants, we also get contracts, and we're always insistent with our potential clients that we want to compensate our students because, one, this is their creativity, and we know that they need it. And we're able to garner some significant resources to support that. But in addition to actually paying them, for me, the most important thing is their intellectual property rights. All of our students own what they create. We help them navigate, first to learn about copyright law and to file their copyright forms. And when we engaged with State Farm, for the first time ever in State Farm's history, we were able to license our students' content, but at the end of the contract, I was able to get State Farm to revert back to our students full rights and ownership of what they created for them. They had never done that before. Usually they do a work for hire. You're familiar with that concept. If you're going to do something for a major corporation, they don't want to know that you exist. You create for them, they give you something, and they own it forever. Because they became a good partner, they understood the importance of that. So yes, that's something we believe in strongly, and we believe in protecting and representing our students so that they could take advantage of their creativity.
I've got a question. So teachers often replicate the sort of
learning experiences
Where are you? Where are you?
Sorry, right
okay, there you are.
Sorry. Teachers often replicate the learning experiences that they experienced as students growing up. How can we ensure that our students coming through innovative teaching models are also bringing those expectations for education into the world, either as teachers or ensuring that those sort of pedagogies blossom?
So bringing it into the world. And you know, I think you have to demonstrate. I think you have to show stakeholders what young people are capable of doing. Like I said, I could have come here today and I could have talked about this stuff. There's nothing more powerful than seeing what young people are capable of creating and producing as an affirmation to us doing things outside of the traditional way. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. Because we're a school that engaged young people who've dropped out, we've had some issues sometimes around graduation rates. You would think that a school that's engaging young people who drop out wouldn't have issues around four-year on-time graduation rates, because how are we going to do that if they've already dropped out? We're trying to re-engage them. So, but we had some, incredible challenges in Minnesota for a short while. All of the clients that we work with, major corporations and these foundations, they came to our defense. They went to the legislature. They went to the Department of Education, our parents. They're the ones who are going to be the biggest cheerleaders and biggest defenders of doing things in these new innovative ways when they become a part of it and they see it and they understand how important it is. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Hi there, good morning.
Hi.
My name's June,
Hi,
and
June.
I was just really interested in whether the materials you talked about protecting intellectual property is available for those of us who are interested in doing more with young people and creativity and protecting
Yes.
their rights and how to teach that.
Yep. Download PA and SA forms, Google copyright forms. They're free. And you can fill them out and do that. I encourage everyone to have young people understand. This is a sharing economy. And a lot of young people today, and it's good, I understand it, they're doing things in a space oftentimes where they're not taking care of that side of the business. And like I said, I think there's some good sides to that. Some of the collaboration opportunities that creates is incredible. But once they begin to rise up and it begins to become a little more serious, and they want to think about taking care of themselves and their families with their creativity, them understanding that part, usually the light goes off right away, like, well, someone just took my beat or my music or this and that. So it's never too early for them to understand and appreciate that, even as they're sharing and giving it away for free, just so that when it becomes important for them, they know how to do it.
Good morning. My name is Vince
Yes.
Gonzalez, and my comment is, yesterday we talked about the word passion.
Yes.
We have a lot of phenomenal students throughout the states, all over the nation. But we can't forget that the adults who have passion, like you, it goes right down to those students. Their success is based on all of us in this room that have passion. Yes. So continue that. I want to applaud you and give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for your passion.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And when you turn on students like we try to do, it's going back and forth. You'll get that from them. The pride that you feel and what you see that they're capable of doing just makes your work that more meaningful. Yes.
Hi, Tony. Thanks.
Hi.
My question is kind of specifically about in the music field, because I also teach a recording arts program. And how do you navigate this? Our frame of reference, I know mine in terms of the music industry is 20, 30 years old. My experience is going to Tower Records and getting the newest CDs. These kids are growing up in a completely different world and industry. And so my question is more, how do you adapt what you teach to their environment in this new, it's a whole new paradigm in the music industry.
I turn it around. I'm trying to keep up. I'm not sure what we teach. I think in this very real sense, they're teaching us and we're guiding them. They're going for, like I said, they're doing this stuff now anyway. The real critical piece that's missing is responsible, caring adult guidance. You have incredible experience. Everything you said about what we're doing since the Tower Record days, I remember those, is important. But if you put that in front, you're already losing them. If you put what they're doing in front and you're watching over it, and when they get a roadblock or they have a question or you see an opportunity to bring in your experience, that's when I think it becomes most powerful. And that's when you keep their attention and they begin to see your relevance in terms of what they're trying to do. Steve Jobs said once that our generation, we were consumers. We were used to going to the Tower Records to buy what's out there, someone created. Young people today, he said, are producers. It's a fundamental difference. They're seeing not what somebody else has done as the driving force of their engagement for pleasure, entertainment. They're doing it themselves, and they're collaborating with others, and they're creating, and it's kind of part of that, there's some other interesting aspects to it, but I think that's a real fundamental understanding that young people today are producers as opposed to consumers.
Do your students do internships, and if so, how do they do that?
There's some great schools that focus around internships, mentorships outside of the building, and we do some of that. But we like to think of ourselves as a enterprise within our school. We are the business. When our students walk into our space, if you ever have a chance to come in, it looks like high tech. It looks like a business, though. You've got the studios, the video production area, the business area, the arts, the different things. Young people go in to work, to create, to produce. So we have internships within the various jobs and responsibilities within the school as part of the school day. And the other side of that I don't mind revealing to you is that many of our students who come from different challenging situations and still are developing their coping skills and habits around work, it's a great place to start when you're doing that in a supportive environment. So we're getting students who have great energy and creativity, but learning about things in terms of etiquette and collaborating with each other. The fact that we have that enterprise going on in the school, we're able to help them and guide them in ways that when that opportunity comes, because say business down the street now wants them to come in and do a internship, they've really have sharpened themselves, and they're really ready for that, and they succeed I believe at a much higher level.
Hi, my question is kind of related to that a little bit. Where do your students wind up working? Like, do a lot of them stay in the arts after they graduate, or are they out in the community in different kinds of jobs?
Man, they're doing everything. It always amazes me, what type of, how my students are doing. It really does affirm that they're creating opportunities for themselves in a community oftentimes that doesn't have many jobs. So I have a number of students who continue to support themselves around music. some signed to major recording labels, some with their own studios and doing work with major corporations and small businesses, many who just collaborate on a community level and just, hustle hard and have shows and do other things. But the majority of my students are just, our aim is not to create that. Our aim is that our students become lifelong learners, that they become producers, that they are able to take care of themselves and their family in a way that they feel, proud about.
Hi. Bienvenidos. Welcome to San Diego.
Hi.
To everybody who's not from our beautiful city. Can you speak a little bit more about the curriculum integration and especially the components of both the beat, so the musical component, and the business, the entrepreneurial, and how that is integrated and included in the core content? And if you could also speak a little bit about your teaching staff, and the community partnerships both that you started with and now have.
Okay, all right. So we're project-based at our core, but we also use multiple strategies. And what I mean by that is that we still do some things in classes, workshops. We have blended learning. So a student comes in, and every student in our school has a personal learning plan. Every student has a personal learning plan. And every student has an advisor. Because we have students who come to us haven't, the traditional system didn't work out well for them, and they have a lot of other issues going on, our advisors are all people steeped around youth development. They're not content teachers, but our content advisors are our licensed teachers. But we still call them advisors. So we have this, two sides, our student advisors and then our content advisors. So a student has a personal learning plan they created with their advisor, and from that plan, they're going to be doing, seeing their credits that they need to earn, understanding the state standards they need to meet, and then creating projects or a mix of classes, blended learning, or maybe even post-secondary educational options where they could access a class at a college. So it's very much kind of that mix, and every student looks different. But if they're doing a project, it's pretty much like I described up there in terms of that project process. They're creating outlines, they're doing the research, they're setting deadlines, they're accessing community experts or validators who's going to be able to sign a credit, if you will. And we work very intentionally with our community partners for them to understand what does it mean to be a community validator. The fact that we are accessing them within our space to help our content advisors, our licensed teachers, work collaboratively with them to take that validation from that community person to the level where that content advisor is able to provide credit for them based on the experience and based on what the student has demonstrated that they have learned or mastered. Did I hit all the points? I think so. Okay.
Do we have more questions? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Simmons, High School for the Recording Arts.
Thank you.